Good morning. I was ringing in the new year. Happy New Year. Our chalice lighting words this morning are by Lois Van Leer. We light this chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention.
Beloved community, on the first day of the new year, it seems fitting and proper to acknowledge the land on which we are gathered and the people who have called this place home for hundreds of years. The Odo-Missouria, the Omaha, the Ponca, the Kansa, and the Pawnee. Many others have visited in order to collect salt at the local salt basin. We thank them all for their good care of the sacred ground. We also take this opportunity to renounce the doctrine of discovery that paved the way for the degradation of native inhabitants and the unlawful appropriation of the land. We recognize that we continue to benefit from these past actions. While we can't change the past, we're committed to right relationship with our native neighbors. Indigenous peoples of many nations make their home in Lincoln today. We value their contributions to our community's vitality and diversity. These are not idle words. Our commitment is to action. We pledge to show up in support of local and national policies, programs, and measures that demand redress for lands taken, that offer justice for harm committed, and that seek to promote self-determination and equity for all people. Welcome to the new year and to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln on this Sunday morning. My name is Mary Kay Stillwell. Kathy Disney and I, worship associates here at the church, will be leading our service today. Over the past several years, the way we've met has often changed. But whether in person, on Zoom, or on a YouTube live stream, worship together is a chance to deepen our connections with the sources of meaning, the meaning in our lives, and to proclaim who we are and what we're about, throwing open the doors of our congregation and proclaiming the radical love and welcome that is at the heart of our faith. The Unitarian Church of Lincoln aspires to be a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual exploration to transform ourselves and the world. We have a big vision here, and we know that creating a loving community begins with welcome. So whether this is your first time here, your 50th time here, or your 500th time, if you came here hopeful or heartbroken, whatever your age, gender, skin color, whomever you love, you are welcome here. As we enter into worship, take a moment to center yourself in this place. Find a comfortable place with your body. Take a few deep breaths, and together let us begin. Please join me in our opening hymn, Morning Has Come. It's in the Teal Handbook, the skinny one. Number 1,000, sorry. Stand as you are, if you'd like, and we'll sing together.
Great job, Bill. If anyone would like to come forward for the story, you're welcome to do so now. We actually have about 13 in the preschool room, so parents of very young children who didn't stay up till midnight and brought their kids today. Our story today is called Everybody Needs a Rock by Bird Baylor. Everybody needs a rock. I'm sorry for kids who don't have a rock for a friend. I'm sorry for kids who only have tricycles, bicycles, horses, elephants, goldfish, three-room playhouses, fire engines, wind-up dragons, and things like that, if they don't have a rock for a friend. That's why I'm giving them my own 10 rules for finding a rock. Not just any rock. I mean a special rock that you find yourself and keep as long as you can. Maybe forever. If somebody says, "What's so special about that rock?" don't even tell them. I don't. Nobody is supposed to know what's special about another person's rock. All right, here are the rules. Rule number 1, if you can, go to a mountain made out of nothing but 100 million small, shiny, beautiful, roundish rocks. But if you can't, any place will do, even an alley, even a sandy road. Rule number 2, when you're looking at rocks, don't let mothers or fathers or sisters or brothers or even best friends talk to you. You should choose a rock when everything is quiet. Don't let dogs bark at you or bees buzz at you, but if they do, don't worry. The worst thing you can do is go rock hunting when you're worried. Rule number 3, bend over. More. Even more, you may have to sit on the ground with your head almost touching the earth. You have to look a rock right in the eye. Otherwise, don't blame me if you can't find a good one. Rule number 4, don't get a rock that's too big. You'll always be sorry. It won't fit in your hand right, and it won't fit in your pocket. A rock as big as an apple is too big. A rock as big as a horse is much too big. Rule number 5, don't choose a rock that's too small. It will only be easy to lose, or a mouse might eat it, thinking it's a seed. Believe me, that happened to a boy in the state of Arizona. Rule number 6, the size must be perfect. It has to feel easy in your hand when you close your fingers over it. It has to feel jumpy in your pocket when you run. And some people touch a rock 1,000 times a day. There aren't any things that feel as good as a rock if the rock is perfect. Rule number 7, look for the perfect color. That could be a sort of pinkish gray with bits of silvery shine in it. Some rocks that look brown are really other colors, but you only see them when you squint and when the sun is right. Another way to see colors is to dip your rock in a clear mountain stream, if one happens to be passing by. Rule number 8, the shape of the rock is up to you. There's a girl in Alaska who only likes flat rocks. Don't ask me why. I like them lumpy. The thing to remember about shapes is this. Any rock looks good with 100 other rocks around it on a hill. But if your rock is going to be special, it should look good by itself in the bathtub. Rule number 9, always sniff a rock. Rocks have their own smells. Some kids can tell by sniffing whether a rock came from the middle of the earth or from an ocean or from a mountain where wind and sun touched it every day for 1,000,000 years. You'll find out that grown-ups can't tell these things. Too bad for them. They just can't smell as well as kids can. Rule number 10, don't ask anybody to help you choose. I've seen a lizard pick one rock out of a desert full of rocks and go sit there alone. I've seen a snail pass up 20 rocks and spend all day getting to the one it wanted. You have to make up your own mind. You'll know. All right, that's 10 rules. If you think of any more, write them down yourself. I'm going out to play a game that takes just me and one rock to play. I happen to have a rock here in my hand. And that's the end of our story. So if you would, please. Thank you. Our next hymn is number 346 in the gray hymnal. Come sing a song with me. Please rise in body or in spirit, and the children are dismissed to their class.
We need one another, says George Odell, when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another when we are in despair and temptation and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid, when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another in the hour of success, when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. A central part of our service is the time we join together as a community to mark the moments of our lives. We share with one another our joys, our sorrows, the events that mark the journeys of our lives. Our joys are shared and magnified. We are comforted in our sorrows. At this time, I invite you to speak into this shared space or type into the chat your name or the name of another you wish to be remembered in sorrow. I will repeat the names aloud here for those in the live stream, and I will read from the chat the names that are written there. I will start by lifting up the family of Earl Dyer. Longtime member Earl Dyer died on December 23rd. Who else are you thinking of with sorrow or concern? Tamara. Keith. Jackie's sister, whose partner died last Thursday. Mark. Family of Dave Asper.
The Christmas cards that come back each year, owner deceased.
Christmas cards that come back each year, owner deceased.
Tim Hopkins, whose partner died.
I didn't get the first name, Pam.
Tim Hopkins' partner died.
Tim Hopkins, whose partner died. In the chat, we have sorrow for Nancy N. facing kidney removal, Paul, niece Erin, sorrow, Tony, dealing with cancer. There is a lag between us and the live stream, so I may round back with others as they come up. But joy is also part of our community life. I invite you to speak into this shared space or type into the chat your name or the name of another you wish to be remembered in joy. Caleb, Tim's grandson, became a dreaded teen. Jace got engaged. Penny and Rick Erweiler, 56 years of marriage.
I don't know whether it's a joy or a sorrow, but Jack's getting a big boy bed.
Jack is getting a big boy bed, and that may come down on joy or sorrow.
Clarence had his last physical therapy appointment.
Clarence Vlasic had his last physical therapy appointment last week. In the chat, we have meeting our grandson Nova and nephew winning merit scholarship to head to college.
And the church recertified for being a welcoming congregation.
The church has been recertified as a welcoming congregation, indeed. Yes. All right. Let us lift up these names and these events and those just as keenly felt but unspoken, and hold them within the care of this community in a moment of shared silence. Thank you for your presence. Each week, we take up a collection to support the work of this church and our partners in the community. We do this because just as we all grow from our participation in this community, we all give back through our time, our talent, and our treasure. When the ushers come forward, you may also text your offering to UC Lincoln and the amount to 73256. That's UC Lincoln and the amount to 73256. The offering will now be gratefully received. Good morning again. Our reflection and liturgy this morning were written by UUA President Susan Frederick Gray. Initially developed for the congregation she served in Phoenix, Arizona, she offered it to congregations this year to mark the new year. These are her words for us. This winter, I have been thinking a lot about this idea of the new year, the image of one year dying and another born, of Father Time dancing upon the old year, the Roman god Janus with two faces, the god of transitions, thresholds, looking both to the past and the future. This threshold, marked as it is by our calendars, is an opportunity for reflection and intention, a reminder, if you will, to reset or recalibrate ourselves as we begin a new year. Our most familiar and common celebrations of the new year are rituals of revelry and forgetfulness that often turn into gluttony and waste. And yet, what is most needed in times of transition, of threshold moments, is reflection and mindfulness. Indeed, there are many ways to forget, but a path of spiritual growth, of maturity and wisdom, is one rooted in reflection and intention. The New Year threshold invites us to look back, to acknowledge the joys and the heartbreaks, the unfinished work, the grief, the successes, the new gifts we have received and known this past year. And it invites us to claim our intention and our hopes for the new year, to recommit ourselves to the work that feeds us, to the lives we hope for, to the commitments that need our attention, to plant with intention seeds we hope to see grow in our lives and in our world. UU minister Scott Prinster writes, "We wander amid the rubble of a world that is always crumbling and rebuilding, carrying hearts that are constantly breaking and renewing. And so we gather to renew our hope and strength for the work that awaits us. We gather to be attentive, to meet our lives with wakefulness of heart and spirit, open to the brokenness, the suffering, and open to the unconditional presence of hope and love that keeps our hearts renewing, that plants the seeds for rebuilding. And so it is, the new year is a call not to forgetfulness, but to wakefulness, to alertness, to see more clearly and openly the places in ourselves and in our world that are broken, full of sorrow, and attentive to the intention, to the renewal that is also waiting. For there is courage and strength in letting our hearts be broken by suffering, yet renewed by hope, and the knowledge that we walk with and work with others in rebuilding and renewing."
The new year, excuse me, the new year feels like a great time, like a great gift of time, the expanse of the year opening before us. But in reality, the true gift is each moment. The time we have, the gift we hold is not the future, just as it isn't the past. It's the present. The year will unfold for us moment by moment, the time always being right now. So one of the best ways to welcome this new year, this gift of time, is to cultivate a mindfulness, an attention to the present, to the gift of each moment. One of the ways we can do this is through intention. An image that invites more intention is that of a touchstone. Historically, a touchstone was a type of dark stone used to judge the quality or purity of gold or silver. By definition today, a touchstone refers to a standard by which a judgment might be made. I understand a touchstone as something that calls us back to our intentions, to our values, to what's important. Coming to services weekly with time becomes a touchstone in our lives, a way of recalibrating, of remembering what we value most, of being renewed at the threshold of a new week, a place to tend our souls. A regular practice of meditation can be a touchstone, putting us in touch with the joy and love that is 1,000,000 times greater than at the surface of our daily living, that we might share and be led by this love and joy more fully. A touchstone can be a practice or a quality that you wish to cultivate and carry with you more intentionally in your daily life. There just so happens to be a story about a touchstone. This story begins with a book.
Once upon a time, when the great library of Alexandria burned, the story goes, one book was saved. But it wasn't a valuable book, and so a poor man, who could read a little, bought it for a few coins. The book wasn't very interesting, but between its pages there was something very interesting indeed. It was a thin strip of parchment on which was written the secret of the touchstone. The touchstone was a small pebble that could turn any common metal into gold. The writing explained that it was lying among thousands and thousands of other pebbles that looked exactly like it. But the secret was this: the touchstone would feel warm, while ordinary pebbles are cold. So the man sold his few belongings, bought some simple supplies, camped on the seashore, and began testing pebbles. He knew that if he picked up ordinary pebbles and threw them down again because they were cold, he might pick up the same pebble hundreds of times. So, when he felt one that was cold, he threw it into the sea. He spent a whole day doing this, but none of the pebbles he picked up was the touchstone. Yet he went on in this way. Pick up a pebble, cold, throw it into the sea. Pick up another, cold, throw it into the sea. Pick up another, cold, throw it into the sea. The days stretched into weeks, and the weeks into months. One day, however, about mid-afternoon, he picked up a pebble, and it was warm. He threw it into the sea before he realized what he had done. He had formed such a strong habit of picking up each pebble and immediately throwing it into the sea that when the one he wanted came along, he still threw it away. The end. But so it is with our lives. As we wander through our lives without mindfulness, without wakefulness, following habits, letting each day flow almost without notice into the next, we may never realize the opportunities, the precious gifts that have been and are right there before us. Well, guess what? We have some touchstones today. They aren't touchstones that will turn objects into gold. They're blue and they will stay blue. They are touchstones that are meant to be filled with your intention for the new year, something that you or we might hold on to or go back to when we feel ourselves lost, overwhelmed, or drawn on by too much habit. The ushers will help us pass out the stones while Bill plays to welcome us to a more reflective place.
Kathleen McTeague reminds us, the 1st of January is another day dawning, yet also we stand at a threshold. The new year, something truly new, still unformed, leaving a stunning power in our hands. What shall we do with this great gift of time this year? Let us begin by remembering that whatever justice, whatever peace and wholeness might bloom in our world this year, we are the hearts and minds, the hands and feet, the embodiment of all the best visions of our people. As you hold your touchstone in your palm, I invite you to think about an intention you wish to carry with you into this new year. A touchstone might be breathe. to remind us to take a breath when we feel overwhelmed, when we get to moving too quickly, whether physically or in thought, to remind us to take time to pause during each day, to be attentive to our surroundings, to our loved ones, to call ourselves to be present in the moment. Maybe our touchstone is hope. We wander in a world that is constantly crumbling. It's easy to become discouraged. In these moments, our touchstone reminds us that life is never without hope, that people just as human as we are have faced terrible obstacles and found ways to build roads of hope and compassion. The touchstone reminds us to rekindle the light of hope and carry its strength through the year. A touchstone, an intention we wish to bring into the new year, might be practice, a commitment to make a regular space for meditation, for worship, for quiet, to keep the discipline of a practice throughout the year, that it might keep us attentive and awake to our lives. Our touchstone might be love or compassion, a reminder to us when we find ourselves growing judgmental, angry, cutting off, to open our hearts, to see the light in another human being burning, just as it does in us. A touchstone is a call to right relationship and connection, when we feel walls growing around our hearts, and to open them more fully. What is the intention you wish to carry with you into this new year? In this moment of silence, let us all take a moment, a deep dive for a moment, to listen for the intention we wish to bring into this new year.
Now let us place symbolically in these stones that intention, that they may serve as a reminder, a touchstone, calling us back to our intention. If you wish, you may speak aloud or silently your intention as you place the rock in the palm of your hand. If you're on the live stream, you can type your intention into the chat. I'll not be repeating it. We'll just allow space for this to happen. Patience. Kathleen McTeague ends her reading on the new year with these words: "The new year can be new ground for the seeds of our dreams. Let us take the step forward together onto the new ground, planting our dreams well, faithfully, and in joy." And so we have. Our closing hymn is number 317 in the gray hymnal, "We Are Not Our Own." Please rise in body or in spirit. Our closing words are again by Lois Van Leer. Having let go, set our intentions, named our curiosity, committed our energies, and given ourselves over to lives of balance, purpose, and meaning, let us begin again in love. As has been the tradition for many decades, this is our annual Irish Coffee Sunday. Peg and Larry Pelter, who are out working hard, have maintained this practice for several years, but it started with the efforts of Earl and Betty Dyer, and they kept it going for many years. So whether you have your coffee Irish or plain this morning, please thank Peg and Larry for their work, and let's raise a cup to Earl. Go in peace.